Hi everyone, my name is Jeff. Today I'm going to show you how to make a basic fused glass pattern bar, and then I'm going to show you how to use that pattern bar to make a fused glass part sheet that can be used in other projects. Welcome to Rocket Rose Art. I think you're going to like this project today. We're making first of all a pattern bar, and then we're going to use that and make a part sheet. Now actually we're going to make multiple pattern bars, and you'll see when I get into the project just how we're going to do that. Now pattern bars on their own can be used in projects, and I'll just show you in a minute what I mean by that. But then we're going to take that and actually melt it down and make a part sheet that we'll use in a future project, probably next week. So this is a pattern bar I made quite some time ago, and since then I've made a number of pieces out of it, and actually including some cabochons just for jewellery. And the way this was made was by putting some dams up to create a void, a rectangular area, and then cutting a lot of strips and laying them up in a pattern inside that, and then fusing it all together. Now you'll notice these are numbered, and I've numbered them so I know the sequence that they come off as I cut them out. And the reason is that so that I can do things like this, mirror them. So I've got 15 there, and the next one would be 16, and then I would mirror them like that and know that they would match properly. This pattern's pretty forgiving for that. That's a complex pattern bar. The one we're going to be making today, or we're actually going to make multiples, is quite basic. Now just a little bit of information that you should be aware of. We're going to be taking the part sheet up to a fairly high temperature, and we're going to be holding it there for a little while, so the compatibility between the different glasses becomes a bit of an issue. The COE, the fact that they're all the same COE, isn't a 100% guarantee that the glass is compatible. You'll find that there's a number of other factors involved, and I strongly suggest you to go to the Bullseye site. They have a good tech sheet, I think it's called, on the very subject, so worthwhile checking out. Now something else is that I have made up some project notes on this project today. They are available with the link in the description below. And I've also made up a file. Where did I put that? Here we go. Right, here we are, fumbling around today. Of the firing schedule form that I use. I put that up as a PDF and a Word document so that if you've got Microsoft Word you can grab it and edit it to better suit your needs. But I strongly suggest using some sort of form or some way recording all the firing schedules that you use and the results. Don't forget, if you've got any questions at all, put them in the comments section below and I will answer them. And if you like the video, please hit that like button, and I would really appreciate that. So we'll get on with the video, and as usual, the very first thing we have to deal with is the design and the materials. So what I want to achieve here with this part sheet is I want to take this single piece of glass, put it on the bottom, place a whole range of pieces of pattern bar on the top, fuse it all down into a single piece. That then will be cut up and used in other pieces, one of which will be next week. Now the pattern bar I intend to use today is really simple. It's just strips of glass all fused together on top. And what would normally be done is you take all those strips, stack them all up, put them in the kiln, fuse them all together, and then take that over to your diamond saw and cut it up into the little pieces that you want at whatever size you wanted. So you end up with pieces like this. It's made up of little strips of glass all the way through, and that's what you're going to put on top of this piece to create the pattern. They will all melt down and create quite a nice pattern, often done in a very geometric way, but not today. I don't want a nice uniform geometric pattern. I want a more organic random pattern. So the way I'm going to do it today is I'm going to assume you don't have a diamond saw that will cut something like 20 mils thick. So somehow or other you have to make all these little pieces individually. And the way we're going to do that today is I am going to cut up all these little individual squares of glass, and then we're going to stack them all together into little piles and tack fuse them all together. So to work out how many squares I'm going to need of each colour, and I'm only using 2 colours today. I'm only using the light violet and the white. This is how I would do it, or how I've done it, I should say. So, final piece is 21 by 21 centimetres, so it's 210 by 210 millimetres. The squares I've worked out will be 2 by 2, so 2 centimetres by 2. And I'll just quickly try and explain all this. So I decided I want about 20 blocks up here. And if you think about it, those 20 blocks in volume have to replace one sheet of 3mm glass that's 21 by 21 centimetres. So if you take a 21 by 21 centimetre piece of glass, that's equivalent to 441 square centimetres of glass. I'm going to add on a margin of about 10%. That makes it roughly about 480. And I want 20 blocks, so that makes each block has to be 24 square centimetres of glass. Now, excuse me, remember these are 2 by 2, so each little square is 4 square centimetres. So if you divide that by 4, that means I need 6 pieces for every little block of glass. Now I am going to alternate the colours. I've only got 2 colours, so there'll be half one colour, half another colour. So that means for the 20 blocks, I will need 60 pieces of each colour, because there'll be 3 of each piece in each block. So that's why that there is what, and we're going to use 0113 white, and which is opaque, and 1428, which is light violet, which is transparent. So that's why what you're seeing here is there's going to be 6 3mm squares per block, and they're going to be 2 by 2 square. So if you haven't been on my channel before, just to let you know that I'm using Bullseye 90 COE glass. I will be firing on thin fire paper. Later on in the project next week, I will slump into boron nitride. And the firing schedule that I'll give you in the description, you will need to adjust if you're using something else. And don't forget that every kiln fires slightly differently. So the first thing I need to do is cut up all those little squares of glass. Now I'm not going to bore you with watching me cut up the whole lot. I'll just show you a very short bit of me cutting up some of the light violet. So this is how I'm going to assemble it. You see I've started here. I've got alternating pieces of that those 20mm squares, and then I'm separating each group of squares by a little piece of thin fire. Made it a little bit difficult for myself. I should have made my thin fire a little bit bigger, but oh well, that's the way it is, unfortunately. So I'm going to continue laying them all up. I'm probably going to lay up 3 rows, and we'll dam them both ends, and then I'll put them in the kiln for a tack fuse. So that's all done. I just need to tell you something about how I laid these up. The kiln shelf itself, as you can see here, is raised at the back, so it's tilting towards me, and that helps me lay all these little pieces up and keep them in place so they don't keep falling over as I work. So now I'll just get these all into the kiln. It'll be just a tack fuse, just so they all stick together. So what you're looking at here is the layup for everything, so it's ready to go in the kiln. It's pretty straightforward. Got a kiln shelf here. I have a thin fire sheet underneath the light violet. I've lined the inside of all the dams with 3mm fibre paper, and I've used fibre paper rather than thin fire because I don't want to run the risk of the thin fire falling in on the glass before these all melt out to the edge. You can then see that I've got all of our little pattern bars sitting on top, and I've arranged those so that they're all randomly oriented but reasonably evenly across the sheet. And the reason I've done that is just to make it easier for the glass to flow and join up and cover that whole sheet. So this is going to go in the kiln on a full fuse at a reasonably high temperature, possibly around 630, but I'll double check that. And it'll be there for quite a while until all that glass melts and flows out to the edges. So I'll just show you one of the little pattern bars. Hopefully I don't drop it. See, it's nice and flat on the bottom where it's sitting on the shelf. And you can imagine these would normally be all fused together in a long slab and then cut up. But by doing it the way I've showed you, you don't need a saw to do that. Okay, it's all fused up, and the very first thing I noticed, and you'll notice as well, it hasn't filled in along here. So my 10% margin probably should have been increased to maybe, I don't know, 15-20%, something like that, and it would have filled in a lot better. But it's turned out pretty much as I expected. The only thing I would say is I would maybe have made my little pattern bars a bit longer so that these things merged into each other a bit better. But other than that, I'm quite happy with that. I'll just show you as I get up close. Hopefully you can see the depth in there. You can see the shadowing. The graduation is because the light violet has come in over the top of the white in places, and you can see you get that nice depth to everything. Right, but I'm happy with that because I'm going to cut this up. Obviously, if I was going to use this as a piece all on its own, then I would have to probably trim it up to make it a bit smaller or something like that. But just keep in mind that maybe add in a 20% margin onto what you calculate out, and it'll probably work out a bit better for you. Something I just need to say too is that be careful handling these when they come out of the kiln, much like a lot of things where you've used fibre paper or something on the side. You get these little sharp pieces, especially here where it hasn't filled in. So just take care handling these. And don't forget too, with the fibre paper, you can reuse it. Just be careful when you take it off, and be sure to wear a mask. So something else I meant to show you was the back. Now you can see the depth and everything there, and remember we've got a full sheet of light violet on the back, so if you turn it over, that's what you get. So it still looks really nice. Now that's important if you wanted to use this for a food item. Remember, food safety with the glass colours. So just check your glass colours. Transparents are better than opals as far as food safety. So just check the glasses and use relevant colours, and the back would be better to be exposed to any food because it's all transparent. Now, as far as the part sheet, excuse me, as I said, I will be cutting it up and using it in another project, and hopefully that'll be next week. And you will see how a simple pattern like this will work out in a finished piece. Exactly how that project is going to look is a little bit in the air at the moment. I have a few ideas, and based upon the actual finished pattern here, I'll make a choice about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you some good information and helps you with your glass fusing adventures. Now, there's a couple of more videos up there suggested, and the subscribe button is right there. I'm losing my voice. And until the next video, I'll say bye for now.